Funding for Frontline is provided by this station and other public television stations nationwide, and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Tonight on Frontline, the national crusade and the personal battle against drugs.
I love dope. I love the way it makes me feel. I don't drink or nothing else. I just shoot dope. I just love the feeling. I love the way it makes me feel. The only thing I don't like about it is what it's cost.
Addicts trying desperately to kick their habits, and only a few will stay clean.
I always thought for a long time treatment, well, I'm going to go through treatment, I'm going to be cured, but there is no such thing.
Tonight, a special Frontline presentation, Stopping Drugs, Part 1.
From the network of public television stations, a presentation of KCTS Seattle, WNET New York, WPBT Miami, WTVS Detroit, and WGBH Boston. This is Frontline with Judy Woodruff.
Good evening. Last September, President Reagan called on all Americans to rise up together against the cancer of drugs. Newspapers, magazines, and network television joined the crusade, and something akin to a national frenzy took place. By October, Congress had passed a bill worth nearly $3 billion. Most of the money, $2.4 billion, will be spent on stopping drugs, with state and federal police, international narcotics squads, and border patrols. The rest will be spent on what is called demand reduction, mainly 2 programs, treatment and education. For the next 2 weeks, Frontline examines those 2 elements of the president's plan. For tonight's program, producer Hector Galan spent months interviewing scores of addicts. Now that the headlines are gone, it is in the small treatment clinics, like the ones you will see tonight, where the real battles of drug addiction are being fought every hour.
You will be expected to follow the rules. There's no passes, and there's no phone calls. TV and radios are off at 10:30. There's no sleeping between 7 in the morning and 8 o'clock in the afternoon. While you're still detoxing off your chemicals, the body tends to tire in the strangest times. And we're not going to let you sleep. No men in women's room and no women in men's room. And on and on and on. So you see my point, as we expand, it gives us a chance to see how we're starting to open up and change some things in ourselves. And you'll see it too. The people that we usually deal with out here are usually just, quote, bottom of the barrel, with no other place to go. Last chance, so to speak. A person that wants to change their life is going to change their life in 21 days out here. That we're going to get something across. For some people, it's plenty of time, and sometimes it's not enough. It's not that they want to continue using, but it's their world. That's all they've known. That's what they've grown accustomed to, the battle, the ongoing battle of survival. And drugs or alcohol become part of that survival. And they can't just quit on their own. They need treatment.
I guess we go this way. I had everything going for me. Had a nice car, a nice girlfriend. Out of high school, I had a scholarship to go play ball. I was going to have my chance to start as a freshman, and somebody went and told the coach that I was smoking marijuana. And the coach called me in and asked me about it, and I was honest with him and said, yeah, I've smoked a couple of times since I've been here. And he said, well, you know what, think about it. And unfortunately, they kicked me off the team. That hurt me because that's what I strive for. I mean, I never missed a day working out. I felt guilty if I missed a day working out. Felt like I let myself down, I let my parents down, I let my coach down. Everybody that I care for, I felt like I let them down. That's probably really beginning of all this.
They say, I'm not getting drunk today.
Nervous, but we're all in the same boat. You know, I was on probation and I was almost, had mine revoked. It was this or hard times. So I'm out here with a good attitude. I learned a lot of things. I have. It's done me a great deal, and it's a simple program. It's real simple.
It's so new, it's so confusing. It is, it's horribly confusing. Especially you're bombarded with all this information. But if you lay back, relax, and leave it, and try to get in touch with that higher power.
What kind of treatment have you had in the past?
No.
Never had any treatment.
And that's why I can't get more.
Number one, your number one love is speed.
Yes, sir. I don't.
How much did you use yesterday? And tell me straight.
Half a gram, probably, maybe a little bit.
Pretty good little. And how much the day before? About
The same, maybe a little more.
A little more. And the day before? And that's okay.
I hope this REAP program helps. It's either this or the penitentiary, so I've got to keep that in mind too.
You'll reach him for sure on the weekends because he runs the WHIP program. Okay, so your treatment and rehabilitation, you had individual, you had group, you had PSAT, you had physical fitness, AA and NA, recreational, big book study.
I didn't care about anything. The only thing I cared about was where my next shot was going to come from, And I've known for the last 4 years. I've known I've been an addict. I knew I had a problem with dope. I accepted the fact. I knew that everything that's happened to me in my life is my own fault. I chose to do that to myself, and that's one thing that's kind of hard for me to believe, that I did it to myself. Nobody did it to me. I did it to myself. That's like people have been telling me, I've seen a drastic change in you the last week. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. I'm proud of myself. That's like you telling me.
So that's why we got to find that middle ground, that fine line to where we feel right, we feel good, we feel comfortable. We get that comfort zone. Otherwise, we're going to go off.
I'm leaving, and I know that I'm going to have to go out there, and temptation's there. It's there. I mean, it's something I got to accept. And I'm scared, All right, Tony. This is Debbie. Hey, you guys going to pick me up? All right. I'm going to be leaving here in a few minutes, so if you guys want to get there around 9, I want you all to be there when I get there, because I don't want to sit around and wait. Yeah, you know what's that? Okay. It's a progressive disease, when you think that you got it, it's gonna grab you. I'm afraid, really, and I'm sad, because here I know I'm safe, I know that, there's no drugs out here. I'm happy, and I don't have to face things. It's kind of like an escape. Find myself, and out there, it's where it's all gonna begin. And it really bothered me, because I know myself, things that had happened, I did. As soon as I got in the truck, and we got just down to the end of this, made this block and was fixing it out right the second block, and I said, where can I get some dope? She's trying to talk me out of it. no, you don't need it. And I says, you know, you can either take me or I'll go find it myself. You know, I said, I want a shot.
She's very self-destructive. She's got to overcome that. And I still feel that's the drugs within her system. They're still, I don't think they can clear out of anybody's system in, well, it was 21 days. Now it's only been, 5, 6.
Even when I was in treatment, I was thinking, I don't want to do no dope. I don't want to do no dope. But then again, I was thinking, I've been in treatment for 21 days and there's no temptation stuff out there. And I was thinking, yeah, just one more time, you know.
They've got to find something to replace this, what they're enjoying.
I love dope. I mean, I love the way it makes me feel. You know, I don't drink or nothing else. I just shoot dope. I mean, I just love the feeling. You know, I love the way it makes me feel. The only thing I don't like about it is what it's cost, you know.
It's really been a terrible experience. We went through some real tough times. If they're so intent on destroying themselves, why don't they just take rat poison? That's cheap. Or arsenic or something. That's cheap. And the suffering is not prolonged. You know, it's tough. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say. You know, I'd hate to lose Debbie, but it'd be better to lose her one time permanently than lose her week after week, month after month, year after year, wouldn't it?
I went from the social user, the casual snorter, to a hardcore drug addict that was using a needle. It was an overnight process. It didn't take years. It took weeks. When I first saw it, I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what the razor blade in the mirror was for. And whenever they lined it up, they pushed it at me and said, try this. Of course, I said no. In the back of my mind saying, it's not right, I shouldn't do it, I've never done it. You're not supposed to do this. And after it was pushed at me 2 or 3 times, I did it because everybody was saying, do it, do it, do it.
For some reason, it just didn't kick in that he was having a serious problem until I found the needles, you know.
Everybody that I talked to, including the people who used a needle, told me, please don't ever use a needle. Don't pick it up. Don't try it. You'll ruin your life.
It really hurt me because he did it on our honeymoon. And I felt like this man is really got a problem.
I realized that I had to do something about it, that I had 2 choices, to leave or to try to go get help.
Most people that have a problem with drinking or drugging don't become addicts. 9 out of 10 of them say, wait a minute, I got mad at her last night and I yelled at her and I actually even pushed her, and I don't like myself when I do that, so I'm not going to use that much anymore. I'm not going to do so much speed that I can't control it or drink so much. So they make a conscious effort.
I was going to lose my job over it. I was going to lose my, at the time, future wife, Rhonda. I didn't have a social life. I didn't have my normal relationship with my family.
Stress and
at that point is when I realized that this couldn't continue.
Through self-disclosure, through openly discussing our feelings, we become more outgoing persons, less compelled to please others at all costs to ourselves.
A lot of times the family members don't have any idea that the person had that much of a drug problem. A lot of times they don't know what's involved in their treatment. We know that the family will a lot of times have anger about the fact that he's using drugs. They'll be confused, they'll be feeling hurt, and we hope to help them feel better about the fact that Tom has an illness and that he's into recovery.
Okay, the way I feel.
Did you ever blame yourself for his drug problem or wonder what you did wrong or how you went
Oh, certainly.
astray?
Anytime any of my children have done wrong, I have felt that had I have done something different, I realized I didn't know a different way. I thought the way I was doing was right. Then yes, I do feel like a parent. So I think we have a wonderful family. And Tom is more or less the head of it. I mean, I have always felt Tom has taken responsibility for all of us, even his married sisters.
The problems you caused me were the problems you were causing yourself just because I love you. But we're going to get through it. Everything's going to be all better.
You supported me one time in my life, and I'm ready to support you. It's like the rest of the family. The whole family has high respect of you because you've got this disease. It doesn't decrease that respect in any way. Matter of fact,
The process
respect you more.
that I'm going through now is to understand my own feelings and to understand why I would want to use. And rather than deal with those feelings in the past, I simply use drugs to escape those feelings. And now I'm learning to recognize those feelings, to deal with them, to try to understand them.
I'm a drug addict. I'll always be a drug addict. I will live day by day and continue with treatment for the rest of my life. I feel like I hurt you there.
You were the father that I never had. And yes, I always did look up to you, but that will never change. I know you're sick and need help, and I'll be there if you need me.
I need you.
I'll be there.
I want to be able to make him stop hurting.
Feel guilty?
I feel guilty.
Ashamed?
Ashamed.
Feel low about yourself?
I feel low. I have feelings inside and I won't show you.
Why?
For fear I would lose more respect from you.
You'll never lose respect for me, Tom.
I heard you say you want to be just like me.
I do. You'll never lose respect for me. I love you, Tom.
Tell him what your fear is, what you're afraid of. You're afraid he may become a drug addict?
Yes.
No. Well, when a fellow is coming off of drugs such as speed, alcohol, or any of the narcotics, you go through a compulsive stage where you really do crave the stuff. And he started experiencing this craving, and he had to go back out.
I was really trying to stay clean. I've been using, today's Thursday, 3 days. I slept about 4 hours this morning, that's all.
I feel better about being here now than what I did when I was coming here, because I didn't know what to expect. And now I really kind of enjoy it. It's not that bad.
And it began to take more of the drug to get us to feel the way we felt up here. The tolerance began to increase. We began to build a tolerance to the chemical. These terms are not AA's terms, these are clinical terms, okay? First time we used, we were clinically referred to as users. For us, though, we liked the way whatever the drug was made us feel. So we continued to use it, and then what we discovered is that it began to take.
It's going to help everybody who's here, but what it's all going to boil down to is what they want. You know, I can't force you to quit doing something, and they can't force me to quit doing something. You know, if I don't want to quit, you know, I'm not going to quit. That's period. You know, you have to have a self-want inside for it to help you completely, but it's going to help.
What you're playing with is real serious, Mike. I talked to your PO, and he indicated to me that you're in pretty big trouble. That this is probably your last chance to go into an institution that doesn't have bars. Do you understand that? And I'm not into a power trip here either.
The ball's in Mike's court, as far as I see it. He needs to show us some real willingness right now. We've worked with him on his entry dates several times, and we may have to be a little hard on him to realize the seriousness of his treatment.
Sorry, Obed's gone for the day. May I take a message or have him return your call tomorrow?
John's had some significant problems with cocaine before coming into treatment.
Having the gene for and developing the disease alcoholism. If it's on both sides of the family, each child has two chances.
Your son has a drinking or drug problem. Alcoholism and chemical dependency are serious problems. Don't try to fight it alone. Get professional help. Call Charter Lane Hospital. It's okay to ask for help.
Wendy Cummings, please call the operator. Wendy Cummings, please call the operator.
I need to emphasize we do have 24-hour coverage. There's no time at all that the patients are left on their own that have no type of coverage. During the sleeping time, from midnight to 8 or 10 to 8, we do frequent room checks, that type of thing. Right now we're in a half-court gymnasium. A lot of times adolescents as well as adults need to learn new leisure skills that are non-chemically related. Can I have fun without being stoned? That's a big question. A lot of kids are real concerned, is there life after drugs? We're real proud of the cafeteria. It's not typical of a cafeteria. It's real loud and it's real cheerful and real bright. When I first saw it, I wasn't real convinced that I'd like it. It's grown on me. I thought feathers on the wall were strange. We're moving much quicker than we expected. Generally, when a hospital first opens, the first year is a real slow, tedious process of developing referral base and getting people familiar with the hospital enough to trust us to put their children in here or their brothers and sisters or fathers or sons or whatever.
The first person is Rusty Aramis, and I hope I'm saying that right. It's Aramis. Aramis? Yes.
Hi. Dr. Rock, members of the board, and guests. My name is Rusty Aramis, and I'm here with the Parents Action League. to address drugs and alcohol abuse in our school district. My family is a statistic of drug and alcohol abuse because in February of this year, I committed my son Kevin to Charter Lane Hospital for what I suspected was harmful involvement in chemical dependency.
I am fine. Hold on, let me get rid of Pat. All right. Hello? Do we have any medium pants? Any extras? I was abusing marijuana, LSD, crystal meth, speed, different kind of uppers and downers. You know, I could steal from mom or, you know, just about anywhere. That's mainly all the drugs that I used on a regular basis. Just find some, okay? I got a crew.
I went into his room to clean it out, and the things that I found were things that I no longer could ignore. I mean, they just hit me right in the face. And Kevin's always been a real smart kid. He was taking accounting, so he had himself a little ledger of his assets and his liabilities, but they were all in drugs. And there was a lot of letters and a lot of small evidence that I should have seen before, but I didn't. And I sat on his floor and cried most of the day, going, my God, what am I going to do?
Good afternoon, Charter Lane Hospital.
This is
All right, keep it level. Keep it level. Set, ready, eat the ball.
I really feel that it was the only thing that would have worked. An inpatient incarceration, if you will, was the only thing that I think would have had any sort of impact on Kevin. At the time, I didn't know that, but I know it now more than I knew it then. And I know that it's going to be a long road to recovery for our communities and schools and our kids and our families. But if we don't join together, we're going to lose sight of a real problem in our area. A problem that
we discovered that Jeff had this problem from our daughter upon returning from a vacation trip, and our daughter, our youngest daughter, felt that she needed to tell somebody about it, and she confided in my wife that our son was using drugs.
Marijuana scared me when she said that, but ecstasy and cocaine, those are big time things. And that's, you know, I didn't realize it was so prevalent that so many people use that. But to hear that word just blew my mind, and I realized that we were out of our league. It wasn't something we felt we could approach Jeff with and try and handle ourselves. We knew we needed help for Jeff.
And David's
I was real scared. I'd never really heard. I mean, I've heard about the places, but you know, I never thought that I'd ever be in one. And it was a real shock because it took away my freedom, which I had so much of.
When he got home, I guess the first thing was, you know, we sort of tried to set out some goals, and we also had a contract with Jeff that it would be a no-use rule or he'd have to leave the house.
We said to him, you know, our contract, and you signed it, and the day you signed it, or the day you started using, you should have been looking for a place to go because, you know, our contract says that no use in our house, and if you do use, you're out.
I don't think my problem was really that bad, and I think it wouldn't have gotten to where it's gotten today if that wouldn't have happened, if I hadn't been kicked out.
The disease is that far advanced that now I guess he's contagious to other kids and being around other kids, and if he's selling, then it's an easy escape.
We've had, our daughter has told us that yesterday and the day before he was at school at lunchtime at the high school, and of course he has no legal right to be on the grounds of the high school because he's not a student. And it scared us because we know he used to sell at the school, and we're wondering if maybe that's what he's back into now. And in fact, we are going to call the principal and tell him to be on the lookout for Jeff. And, they know of Jeff's problem before, but make them real aware that he has been on the campus. We feel like we need to protect the other kids.
A stand that would say to everybody, including our kids, that we will not tolerate drugs and alcohol for young people in our community.
I'm not quite sure what they've got out of it. I know they haven't got their money's worth out of it with me, because it hasn't got them really anywhere with me. Originally it was for me. Eventually it was for them.
It got us healthy.
It was worth it. It was worth
It was
every
worth
dime.
it because we're healthy.
For all of us. It's something that we all need to join together. The treatment, that and continuing, in other programs has just been great for me. Just super.
Two times.
You're sorry, dog.
One up. The freak of the week's getting ready to hit the ball. All right. Shit.
Every day I go along, I learn something new, and I feel a little bit better about myself, and I guess I'm growing in a respect of getting better. I think it's helping me a whole lot.
The big book in there. Oh wow, and sat right beside me. I said, Ron, I'm going after you guys. He says goes in there.
I did speed, and I had been awake for such a long period of time, a week or 10 days or something, and I did a shot, and I still fell asleep. And when I woke up about 17 hours later, the needle was there, and I was still just slumped over in the same position I was in when I went to sleep. I woke up that morning and I saw that, and it was such a horrible, grotesque picture that I said, I've really got to do something serious. I've got to do whatever it takes. Before that, I was always strong enough or thought I was strong enough to say, I don't need that. I can quit anytime I want to. I can do anything I want to.
We need to stop and snap. We are not thinking right. We have been under for a long time, most of us, me for years, under the influence of something or another. My mind will be a long time before I think clearly. I actually go to someone else and ask them, here I go, I'm going to make this major decision here in my life. Do you think, I'm talking about a sober person.
I was shooting Valium. I liked the high from it, but then I'd have to do cocaine on top of it to keep me awake. But I like that mellow but awake feeling that I got from the mixture of the two.
I know how to deal with an alcoholic husband and what his mind is going through.
A friend and I went out one night and we were at a bar, and I woke up after sleeping for about an hour and a half, and I didn't have my drugs, and they were left in the parking lot of the bar. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, on one Saturday morning, I was in the parking lot looking around on the ground for my drugs. I found them, and I realized that this is ridiculous. Look what I'm doing. It's crazy. And so that's when I went and I sought help.
Page 44, Chapter 4, We Agnostics. We hope we have made clear the distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. If, when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. But it isn't so difficult. About half our original fellowship were of exactly that type.
You act as though you've lived an entire fucking life. You haven't even gotten close. And then when we ask you to change your life, you act like we're asking you to do something you've never done before in your life. All you've been doing is changing your life. Some of you have lived on somebody's couch, in a car, out on the street, wearing somebody else's clothes for the last 10 years. And then we ask you to change your life. Look at you. Well, shit, I can't go if I can. That's all you've been doing. It's changing. I know I screened a lot of you. And you were crying, sweating, praying to get someplace. You still won't stay there. 10 days later, you're going, oh, fuck it, it wasn't that bad. You get a few meals in you and a few hots, you get the shaking and stuff. It ain't that bad. You know? Now, you want to laugh at that, but that's not something to laugh at. But some of you jerk-offs in here absolutely think you can come into my office and sit down and tell me some of the fucking bullshit that comes out of your mouth about some of the shit that goes on in your life and still won't tell me it's okay. And when I tell you you're full of shit, you freak out. You absolutely freak out. You didn't get out here because Cheerios package you opened up and there's a free trip to Reap. You have fucked your lives out. Man. Nobody else did. No, you didn't need any help. Some of you worked overtime to get here. You didn't just do it an 8-hour day. You did it overtime. And then you drugged some people with you. Come on. Come on with me. I'm fucking mine up. I'm fucking yours up too. Come on, Mom, Dad. All that money you saved for the rest of your life, give it up. Just give it up. Come on, baby. Take the kids. Put that kid over there with Grandpa. We'll fight him later. We'll get him. And what just gets me on the short ends is when I have a junkie in my office want to sit there and try to tell me something rational about them using dope. It's fucking illegal. And ain't nobody in this room in a position to change those rules. They want to tell me why they got to where they're using heroin. Or why cocaine was so important in their lives. And my only reply is you don't live on the planet Earth. You don't, and haven't been here for so long. 21 days ain't nothing for you, nothing. You probably won't see what yourself looks like for 30 days. 6 months before you go, shit, where have I been? Where are you at now? Rehab. You're in rehab now. You've made a choice. Some of you mean it. You downright mean it. I'm tired of it. And you don't mind saying it. And knowing what you're saying, you don't mind saying it. I'm here. I don't want to go back.
That fits with our disease real well. There is no cure for this disease. Recovery is possible through abstinence and change.
We've had a spiritual group, a grief process. We had a real good one on grief process, which brought a lot of stuff out in my mind. Yeah. It's a whole bunch of input and a lot of stuff to think about.
The whole reason we smoke it is to change the way we feel and the way we think. There's a definite chance that it will change the way you think to the point where...
They were telling us some statistics in one class that really got me pretty good. It said, so many percent of you are going to end up dead. So many percent are going to be using again within a month. Some of you will come back. Some of you won't. Some of you will be institutionalized or percentages. And it gives you chills all over, when you think about it.
Remember that
I hope I'm not going to be one of the ones that are institutionalized or dead or come back. I hope I can work it because I'm really into the program and I like it. I'm learning. Something I've missed for a long time, probably learning.
I used to think that if I drank peppermint schnapps, it'd make my breath smell real minty and nobody would know. That's not true. Go into the bathroom and then you come out of the bathroom and they wonder why you're not hungry.
A lot of us are flung into situations we didn't ask for. But at some point, socially speaking, we didn't say no. I mean, you could say no. I mean, like I said, if you still go into the bathroom by yourself and feeding yourself, I
feel
think you
good.
can say
I feel
no.
clean. I feel sober. I feel like I don't want to use anymore. And I want to get on with my life and make something of it. I want another business. I want another shop. But I don't want to rush it and get my days unbalanced, my life unbalanced again by working too much and have a relapse. I've got to take my time and ease back into it.
Some mental hang-ups. Out here in 21 days, there's a good chance the first few days we're not going to want to deal with anything like that because we're not thinking about it. It's the farthest thing from our minds.
I always thought for a long time, treatment, well, you know, I'm going to go through treatment, I'm going to be cured, but there is no such thing. There's no such thing. I've just got tools to work with and a little knowledge now that I didn't have about my problem.
Simple thing of being able to get back to where emotions controls intellect. When you walk in there and she's gone, there's a note saying, I told you I'd leave if you would.
I've had a lot of compulsion, but I'm learning how to control it a little better. The compulsion, as you said, outpatient it. It's the disease fighting for its life.
I see a great change in him because he was really pretty miserable when he came in here. He sees some light at the end of the tunnel. What rewards have you already started getting? Just while you've been out here?
Just feeling better, you know. Actually get up in the morning and look outside and go, damn, it's nice to be alive.
Happy to get up, wake up, instead of coming to. He has as much of a chance as he'll give himself, but methamphetamines is a sneaky drug. Of course, they all are, and the obsession will come on when we least expect it. He's aware of all those things, and if he'll just remember, then he'll go on. He'll go on in his recovery.
Yeah, can't do it in public.
Bye, girl.
How you doing, Fred?
Bye-bye, Fred.
Take care of yourself.
I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to try my hardest because there's no way, and I think about it, that I can go back to living the way I was, doing and lying to myself the way I was. It was ridiculous. There's no way I can go back to that. And I haven't laughed and been happy straight in so long. It feels good. I want to keep it.
I'm here at Stratford House for a couple months. Get an apartment. That's history, Kathy.
I'm going to have to stay away from the places and the people and all the things that I was with and dealt with before. I'm going to have to stay away from all that, which is going to be very hard. It's going to be a whole new life. You know, you've got to adjust to everything that's new.
And now exactly.
I know this is a new start for me. And I'm very excited about being able to try it and do it again. So a lot of people don't get second chances. A lot of people go till they're gone.
That's AHA in living color and black and white animation in Take On Me.
I thought I could, you know. I thought I had enough willpower, but it's just an uncontrollable thing in my life right now. I don't know. I can't stop. I've quit for a few days, thinking about treatment and reading my books. So I eventually turn right back around and do it again. I don't know. I see people that have kicked it and talk about kicking it, but it's not as easy as just go to treatment and that's it. You're done. You know, I feel a lot more guilty using. You know, I think about what they taught me and stuff, what they showed me about myself. But you know, right now I don't give a shit. I guess I'm just tired, I don't know.
Try to describe every feeling that's going through you right now.
Just, I need to do something. I need to go work on my car or something. There is no feeling. I guess that's why you do it. You just block everything out. It blocks everything out. You don't think about anything except you need to do something. You get chest pain, your heart works so hard, you know. Just unreal pulse. Just real fast.
Do you ever get scared?
Well, yeah, I get scared, you know, when I do too much. Sometimes I do too much. And like, I can't move, you know. That's all I can do to just sit still and talk myself into not dying. Because you feel like you're going to die. I always take it to the limit, though. I like to go to the edge and look over, but one of these days I'm going to fall off.
I felt guilty after I did it, but I guess not guilty enough or not bad enough. I really wasn't thinking of anything at the time. It was just there. And so, if it wasn't there, I would have found it. I wanted to use. I thought I had reached bottom before, but I guess I hadn't gone down far enough for me to stay straight. I still think there's hope for me somewhere down the line. There's got to be a light at the end of my tunnel. I hope. I feel that I'll get it together, and I'll do it someday. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday I will. And just hope that someday is just not too far away, way off.
I get very impatient. Things ain't happening fast enough. People tell me, well, that's God giving you your time. You know, your time to learn about yourself, to learn.
I went in to turn in my specimen and report to my probation officer. And went upstairs to wait for him to talk to me. And when he come up, he had the two officers there to arrest me. I'm gaining things that I had lost through drug use. You know, it's like, yeah, I might go down and I might do time, but, you know, I'm still, when I come out, you know, I still know that I'm going to have things, you know. I don't feel like the living in, you know, I want to live today where before I just wanted to die, you know. I want to see, you know, I want to see things, you know, I want to experience things, you know, I want to have things where before I didn't care. You know, even being in jail, to me, it's still worth it.
I wouldn't only suggest treatment to other people. I would really urge that they go through treatment. It's 3 weeks of your life when you can forget everything out there, when you can learn how to change your whole life around, you know, how to be a whole different person, how not to need that garbage anymore in your life. Treatment and the whole thing is nothing but a con job to me that I pull on myself. But it's okay because it's whatever works to keep me clean. Whatever it is, if it's brainwashing, which it's not, but whatever it is, I don't care if they could tell me it was anything. It's keeping me clean today. I don't have a needle in my arm, and that's the thing that's the most, that's what I went there for.
Some of us in here just barely 17. God damn. Some of us have been around for a while.
Meet a prospective date, or whatever you want to call it, put in whatever word fits for date. But just fear of social situations, even family situations. And a lot of times
are prone to substitute compulsive chemical use with work addictions. We become workaholics.
We're dealing with a disease of denial. Many of them go back to the street and die. Many of them have obtained something through this program that realizes there is a better life for them. And we will see them in AA or NA or another support group, and we'll end up making it on their own. It's very difficult to track someone, as we try to, that has failed in the program. But we don't ever give up on anyone.
What could possibly happen for you? You know? So yeah, there's a way of doing that. And like I said, I don't know what goes on inside any one person. I don't know.
I feel a whole lot different. I feel better physically. I feel a whole lot better mentally. I've got a lot of stuff out of my mind. I'm dealing with things again. Now I see that I can make out of my life what I want to make out of it. I've got a chance here to go for it, and if I don't, I'll be a fool, you know. I got a disease. That's what they call it, and that's what it is, a disease. And I'm never going to be cured, you know. I could go out and use tomorrow. I don't want to go use tomorrow. I'm just not going to use today.
this afternoon at 4 o'clock, y'all have house orientation. They go over the rules, the regulations of the house.
At 4?
Okay.
Where's this at?
4 will be in the dining room, okay? Okay, but at 3 o'clock your counselors will be in, so come look. Who's Charles Shores? Okay, you're in room 8. We don't have a key yet. We'll have one made. Okay, your counselor is Ed Cambio. Your small groups counselor.
Since our program was completed, we have found out about Ron Burns. After leaving REAP, he's been in jail 3 times on a variety of charges, including burglary and probation violation. We don't know if he's using again. This program has been about the difficulties of treatment, about the realistic chances of kicking the habit and staying clean. It's clear it's very hard. The alternative is to persuade people to stay off drugs in the first place. This in a culture saturated with talk of drugs, of alcohol, and the pleasures of escape. Next time on Frontline, we'll look at prevention through education. The Department of Education is spending an extra $100 million this year on programs for the young. Can they help? Can they really persuade teenagers to stay clean? please join us for part 2 of Stopping Drugs. I'm Judy Woodruff. Good night.
For a transcript of this program, please send $4 to Frontline, Box 322, Boston, Massachusetts, 02134. Frontline is produced for the Documentary Consortium by WGBH, Boston, which is solely responsible for its content. Funding for Frontline was provided by this station and other public television stations nationwide, and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Schools, colleges, and other organizations interested in purchasing or renting video cassettes of this program may call 800-424-7963 or write PBS Video, Post Office Box 8092, Washington, D.C. 20024.